Hey guys, how's it going? Yufan here. About half a month ago, I went on a business trip, and Bingbing and my kid returned to China together. We were away from home for more than 2 weeks. 2 weeks without anyone feeding the fish, adding the water, and dealing with any problem that might arise is a crisis for any tank. Today, I will talk about what these 2 weeks has done to my tank and the choices that a lazy reefer must face. As you may know, when I choose reef animals, I consider low water quality and low maintenance requirements to be important principles. However, the reef tank is a highly closed system with a very high unit biomass. Any unusual change can throw an already functional system out of balance and control. So, before Bingbing and I left home, we tried to keep the reef tank in an ideal state. We add more water to the tank, fed the fish, and cleaned out the filtration system the day before we left. And our best hope was that nothing would happen to the coral if there weren't too much evaporation. Our biggest fear was that my fish, which included a zebra eel, may starve without food for 2 weeks. I put the zebra eel in the quarantine tank to prevent anything from happening to the zebra eel and from creating too much toxin because of the large size. But as I said, that's the best I can hope for. There is always a catch. When I returned 2 weeks later, except for the excessive algae on the wall, most of the corals had maintained their previous conditions. The mushroom coral, leather coral, brain coral, and torch coral were all in good shape, and my only SPS cyclone coral even grew better due to the lack of nutrients in the tank. Surprisingly, all my fish were healthy, and none died of starvation. Of course, 2 weeks of being unmaintained still took a toll. The rock carrying the BTA rolled down from the top of the hill, and the evaporation is so great that the main pump started injecting air bubbles into the tank. And my another BTA escaped again from its nest and covered part of my star polyp. And my elegant coral exposed a bit of its bone. A few of my hammer corals were in an okay condition before I left, and these 2 weeks surely was the problem. These problems may be related to stop feeding. Fish that cannot find food are increasing the disturbance of corals, and the loss of nutrients is causing ion fluctuations in the water. But let's be real, 2 weeks, it can be worse. So I fed the fish, put the eel back in the main tank after feeding it a few pieces of fat shrimp. Over the night, my tank was gotten a bit better. But until now, the condition of my hammer corals has not been ideal. This exposed a much deeper problem. As lazy reefers, we have a bottleneck in managing our reef tanks. This bottleneck may not be obvious when the new tank is first installed, but when your tank is like mine and has been there for more than a year, this bottleneck will gradually begin to limit the states of your reef animals. In my tank, for example, with bubble corals, torch corals, and brain corals in a good condition, we know that the water quality is not that bad. Perhaps because some corner of the tank have accumulated harmful substance such as hydrogen sulfate or a certain mineral element is not balanced. Without considering solving these problems, even finding the problem itself requires complex actions. Obviously, that is not what a lazy reefer wants to do. At that point, we must make a choice. After the bottleneck of your tank has gradually begun to expose, in which direction does your lazy reef tank go? If you have fish, low-need corals, and high-need corals in your tank, the fewer fish there are, and the more likely high-need corals are to survive. As we have mentioned before about fish density, 3 to 4 small and medium-sized fish per 100 liters of water is appropriate. If it is further reduced, Maybe you can choose to put only 1 or 2 omnivorous and herbivorous small and medium-sized fish per 100 liters of your tank and no longer need to feed them, which is going to the pure coral tank. But if, like me, you enjoy the feeling of feeding your fish and don't want to reduce the number of fish, your coral structure may need to fit further towards low-demand corals. If my hammer corals does not improve after adjusting the position, it is clear that I shouldn't buy more hammer corals and should try to buy more torch coral, bubble coral, brain corals, and also I can invest more in boneless corals like mushroom coral and leather coral. Was it a hard choice? Changing the water once a week can easily solve many problems. But as lazy reefer, we need to be more intelligent in identifying the problem and constantly adjusting and making the best choice for our tank. There will be a trade-off, just like in life.